This is the Pro Audio Suite podcast. Quick Bites.
Welcome to another Pro Audio Suite Quick Bite. This week we're talking about a new browser called Brave. Now, I saw, George, you were talking about this on Facebook just the other day. What's the story?
Yeah, so this web browser has been around apparently for quite some time because I posted about it on Facebook, and some people are like, I've been on this for years. But they were being promoted on This Week in Tech, the podcast that I love now for many years. And that's how I heard about it.
Which is not as good as our podcast.
No, nowhere near. It pales in comparison.
No, absolutely.
But the concept of this web browser is that it's running on Chromium, so it'll support and act like Chrome to all the websites. And arguably Chrome is the most widely supported browser, for a lot of reasons. So the beauty of it is it's going to run like Chrome, so it's going to browse everything. But the big issue with Chrome is that because it's owned by Google, its job is to harvest your user data. They want to know where you go, how long you spend there, and what you buy. So that makes it the least private of all the web browsers. So Brave's concept in comparison is that we don't share anything about you that you don't want them to know. So it's really locked down. It blocks ads really, really well. It's super, super locked down. And as a consequence, it's way faster. Like it loads much faster on most web pages because it's stripping out so much content from the site. It's not loading so much crap. And that's just alone is worth the price of admission, which of course is free. It doesn't cost anything to use it. But
which begs the question, how do they monetize this?
Yeah.
Right. So how do they monetize it, right? If they're blocking ads, how do they monetize it? So what they've done is, which is just brilliant, is they've partnered with this other company that you can basically is sort of like an ad network, and you can basically rack up credit for seeing specific ads that are served to you through this service called Uphold. And Uphold verify your identity. They make sure you are who you are, and they track ads that you've viewed and give you credit for seeing the ads. So what they're basically doing is telling the advertisers, your ad has been viewed, and it's been viewed by this person. But if you don't want to see the ads, you can add money to your account to pay for the ads, so you never have to see them. And this is the way they monetize it. So
it's like they're blackmailing you. If you don't want to see ads, pay up.
Well, but that's the thing is, like, we all know that anything that's free, it's free because you're the product. So in this case,
the point is like nothing is free.
Right. Let's be honest. Nothing is free. If it's free, it's because you're the product. For some people, free is important. They're not going to justify paying for something that's already free. But for others that are extremely sensitive about their privacy, they'd be happy to pay for something that doesn't sell their information. So that's this browser. YouTube does it. If you don't want to see the ads, you can give them $5 a month.
Yeah.
And you won't see those ads anymore. And I'll tell you, it's worth it. I forgot to renew it one time. My credit card number changed. And now it's like, oh, there's damn ads again.
Yeah. Yep. How's Source Connect now going on Brave? Is it working?
The audio goes in, but I can't get the audio out. So in other words, it'll show my mic, but I don't hear the receive. Because I think Brave is so incredibly sensitive to incoming information. They're very, very secure. It's blocking it on some level. So far, I've not gotten it to work. But again, I've been using it for precisely, 5 hours. So, I'm sure that at some point, Robert will pass that over to Rebecca and she'll get right on
it. Actually, Rebecca might not have the work to do. It might be the guys at Brave, because usually the reason why, the Chrome variants stop working with whatever version of Chrome it is because Chrome has updated. And right now, I know that Source Connect now is operating with the most current version of Chrome. And so Brave, being a Chromium-based browser, I'm kind of guessing possibly the reason why it's not working is actually it's running on an older version of Chromium. So maybe as that's updated to the current version of Chromium, while they keep all their, the privacy and what they have that makes them special, it might start working in that case.
So would that mean that if George is now having trouble with Source Connect now, would that mean that others such as that, maybe even Hightail, might be having similar issues?
It's quite possible that anything that works with Chrome could have issues that, depending on how furious the update cycle is. With things that specifically handle real-time audio, so I can talk about Source Connect now for sure, but I know that there's been occurrences of changes in Chrome causing disruptions in all of the various services that rely on Chrome. It's entirely possible that it affects, and I believe it has happened many times, that a change in Chrome has sort of affected the broad range of them. And then, of course, there's fixes that come out at various speeds.
So it's a constantly chasing Chrome when they update to make sure
that is definitely one of the issues. Yeah, so it's like chasing Chrome, and that's why there's these standalone versions of we make sort of what we call a mini browser, and essentially it's a frozen version of Chrome. But there's still an issue with that, is that eventually, as Chrome updates, then we have to update to work with the current version of Chrome, which means we then have to go back and update the mini browser to work with that same version of Chrome, and that eventually happens. And then there's a plateau in the update cycle until it all happens again.
Because there are different businesses that run using a Chrome platform to operate their audio transfer. Why are we still doing that? Well, because you've got Source Connect Standard, Source Connect Pro.
Right, those are immune to all the changes and what happens in sort of the consumer communications market. Those are dedicated applications, and so we've got better control over those, and generally we're able to keep up with the operating system changes, but we're not as affected by the changes in browsers, which are far more frequent than operating systems for the most part.
So wouldn't it be better, like for someone like me or someone like you guys who are working in audio, to just forget using anything that works on a browser and just use something that works directly? Sure.
I mean, I think that there's definitely, in a sense, arguments for both. And the way I see it is the professional studio to studio, talent to studio connections, those especially done where the connection is supposed to be, recorded on the far end, and not some sort of I'll record on either end and we'll eventually merge the files together later, or I'm just listening and send me the file later. But where they're recording on the far end, putting it right into the spot or whatever they're working on, editing to time, then you want something that's going to connect and essentially hold on to the connection, a connection that's really engineered for fidelity and not just necessarily intelligibility. That's what Source Connect Standard and Pro can do. On the other hand, where you're looking for something that's a little bit more ad hoc, so maybe the party you're working with on the other side is not recording you, or they're just not able to get in front of a system that's like that. So all they have is a browser. There's some huge convenience with, hey, Chrome is pretty much everywhere. Just launch it and log in. And I think those are the connections where they're better than a phone patch, but not necessarily something like, like the Source Connect and a proper ISDN connection does, not a connection over a browser.
Interesting. Well, I know a few people are talking about Brave at the moment, so hopefully we've covered off a few things in there. This show was mixed by Voodoo Sound. Edit by Andrew Peters, using Source Connect Now and Rode microphones, with technical support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe and like us.